All right, welcome back to another episode of It's That Easy. So, today I'm going to talk about a recap. I'm going to recap the games that we picked this past weekend for college. It was a very, very rough weekend, so bear with me here. But it'll go well, and then at the end, I'll give you a quick preview of the games that we'll be talking about later this week for this coming weekend. And I promise you that we will have better picks. All right. So before we get started here, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'd greatly appreciate it. And then always drop comments. We'd love to read your comments. I know they don't all have to be good, and that's okay. And we'll also leave some comments about our picks. And then when with the college the week 8 stuff that we pick, we'll leave our picks on there as well. Unfortunately, today I'm not joined by my co-host Big Peso Dean. He had some other obligations. No biggie. We'll catch him on the next show. So here we go. So this is a quick rundown of what we saw this week. I will break each one of them down really quickly. Don't want to have a long show for you here. Not trying to keep everybody. But as you can see, a lot of L's in this category and only a few W's. Here's the bad part. When you parlay picks, if they don't both win, you lose. So I went ahead and took the L for 6 that I parlayed and did not do well on. And so here's a quick breakdown of those. So let's look at the games here. So we'll start. I'm going to put my face over here. We're going to start with Texas and Kentucky. So Kentucky's turned out to be a lot tougher team than I thought. Defensively, their defensive line got after Arch. They stopped the run. They were after Arch all night long. I mean, they made it tough on him to the point where I think even when we did block them, his clock was so fast. He had a tough time hitting open guys that were wide open. So yeah, I know, excuse after excuse. Here's the thing, though. The Texas Longhorn defense showed up. In the second half, they took over, which was really good. And then special teams, our punt returner did great. He actually was a lot of our offense as he took the ball deep into Kentucky territory, and that's how we scored. And then our kicker, won it in overtime for us. We had a great 4th-and-1 stop. So that defense really showed up. The Texas defense was really good on that day. And I think that's what's going to carry us throughout the season. The bad part is I don't know how the offense is going to do. So we'll see. Texas squeaked out a 3-point victory. They were actually favored by 13.5 points. I took that, which was really bad. It wasn't even close. But you know what? That's okay. But I also took the under 43.5 points, and they only scored 29. So that was a mini victory in a bet that I did not win. So let's go to the next one, Vanderbilt and LSU. So I don't know if you watched this game, but Vanderbilt is a tough team. They have a great offense. And I don't know if that's just against LSU defense. I think it's just a great offense, period. They're 6-1 on the season, so obviously they got a pretty good offense. Pavia was all over the place, running he ran great. He passed the ball pretty good as well. He was the difference in this game. A couple weeks ago, they lost to Alabama. He had turnovers inside the red zone. This game, he did not. He turned those into touchdowns, and I think that was the difference. They got after the quarterback, so Nussmeier. We said in our preview that guy could go either way. He could throw 3 touchdowns or he could throw 3 interceptions. He actually threw touchdowns, but then they pressured him so much. So their defense, I think, also helped them win this game. They pressured him so much that they were he made some really bad throws. It turned out in the end that they were just too much. The offense was too much for LSU to stop, and then their defense just got after them at the end. It's a 7-point game. The pick was Vandy minus 2.5, which they covered, so that was a win there. I was really happy about that. But I went for the under for some reason at 47.5 because I thought they would stop it. I thought it would be more of a defensive battle, and it wasn't. They scored 55 points, so they went over on that one. But it was a really good game, so I'm looking forward to seeing these two teams next week on their next games to see how much, because I think you can tell like how when you watch them play, you say, okay, was last week a fluke or was that the team they are? So that was fun to watch. Another one we picked was Texas A&M against Arkansas. So the line was A&M by 7.5, and I'll be honest with if you, I mean, obviously the Aggies are 7-0. They've had some great wins. I actually thought they'd take care of them. It was 7.5. I took A&M by 7.5 points. I thought they'd actually probably beat them by 10 to 14 points. Yeah, as you can see, it was a tough game. I was very surprised as I watched this game how Arkansas moved the ball on A&M. I saw quarterback runs. I actually the Arkansas running backs did really well. They passed the ball as well, and I mean I knew A&M would score. I mean I didn't know they scored 45, but I knew they would score. I did not see Arkansas scoring 42 points, but Arkansas is a lot tougher than you think. Big Peso Dean says that crazy things happen in Arkansas, and he wasn't wrong because against a couple weeks ago against Notre Dame, they scored 13 points, and I thought it'd be similar to that. Turned out that they scored 42. So I also took the under at 58.5. Well, these guys went and scored 87. Wasn't even close. So, but here's the thing about all these losses that I've had. I'm learning from these losses. So, keep your eyes open because I'm going to make some good picks coming up. Let's see, Georgia and Ole Miss. Another game that I was really looking forward to. Georgia was a 7.5 point favorite, and I actually thought that Ole Miss would cover that, so I picked Ole Miss plus 7.5. The over/under was 57.5, and I actually went the under. Now looking back, I was like, that's a really dumb pick, but I took the under at 57.5. They ended up scoring 78 points. Ole Miss came out quick, just like I thought they would. I thought they'd be able to score on Georgia, and they did. What I didn't think was going to happen was that Georgia would score so easily and so often against Ole Miss. I don't think they punted till the fourth quarter, so they scored on, let's say, 6 consecutive drives where they either had a touchdown or I think they also had a field goal on one of them or 2 of them. But, I mean, they dominated, and every time Ole Miss had an answer for Georgia, Georgia would come back and do it again. And then in the fourth quarter, as you can see, they shut them out. They shut out Ole Miss in the fourth quarter. They started stopping them. And that's when the Georgia not only took the lead, but then also went over their spread of 7.5 points. As you can see, it was an 8-point game. So yeah, but it was a good game. Learned a lot. I gained a little more respect for Georgia. I'm not a fan of Georgia, but they did really well. And Ole Miss did what I thought they'd do. They'd score points, and I think they'll continue to do that. And I think both of them will do well for the rest of the season. So I'm looking forward to looking and picking a couple of those games as well. Oh, Alabama, Tennessee. Oh, Alabama, Tennessee. Y'all let me down. I really was expecting a shootout. Actually, Alabama held up their end of the bargain. Tennessee did not. So it was a 7.5 point. Alabama was favored by 7.5 points. I thought Tennessee would score more points and cover. I took Tennessee plus 7.5. As you can see, they lost by 17, so it wasn't even close. I took the over at 58.5 points. They scored 57. Gambling is a cruel, cruel, cruel sport. Let me tell you. But here's the thing: Tennessee at the end of the second quarter had a chance to score a touchdown. I'm talking they were inside the 10-yard line. He threw a pass, intercepted in the end zone, ran back 101 yards for a touchdown for Alabama. That's when it kind of got out of hand. Alabama came out in the second half. You see, in the second half, they just went score for score. Each team scored on the other, but by that time it was already a blowout. So, that didn't help at all. I thought Tennessee might come back, score a few more touchdowns there in the fourth quarter to make it closer so they could cover my point spread and go the over. Yeah, Alabama's defense showed up. That did not happen. So we'll see what happens. I feel like Tennessee early in the season was pretty good and people like them. And now they're turning out to be a little more average. And Alabama, I think they started off a little tough. and people weren't sure what you were going to see with Alabama, and now it's turning out that it might be the Alabama of old. So, really good game. We'll watch these teams again as well as the season goes on. And the last game of the night was BYU and Utah. Utah was actually favored, even though BYU was undefeated. Utah was favored by 3.5 points, so I took those points, and that did not work out very well at all. So BYU wins. This was a tough game. I mean, I thought I'm amazed that all these people, as you know, everyone was able to end the game upright because they hit each other so hard. These guys were just beating each other up. But BYU proved that they're undefeated for a reason. They took it to them. The Utes had chances at the end to score multiple times, and BYU continued to either interceptions, and they made them turn it over on downs. I mean, you see the fourth quarter was exciting, but BYU was just too much. So the over-under was actually 49.5. I picked the under. They scored 45 points. I kind of knew it would be a defensive battle, and it was. So that was really good. Good pick there, but overall, lost that one as well. So, yeah, it was a tough week, but it was a lot of fun. So let's go back here because I do want to make a point. So if you look here, here's one thing that I realized. All the home teams covered the spread. That doesn't mean that they won. Like Kentucky covered the spread, which was 13.5 points. They didn't win, but they covered. Arkansas didn't win the game, but they covered, on down the line. So learned a lot about home teams this weekend. Also learned a lot about these SEC teams because, as you can see, I picked 4 unders and 3 of them went over. So, you never know what's going to happen, but you just kind of learn from that. You look at that for next week. So let me give you a quick preview of next week's picks. So here we are for next week. This is what we're going to be looking at. I hope you're looking at some of these games too. And once we post these and we post our picks, I'd love to see your comments on your picks on these as well. So the first one, obviously, I got to go with my Longhorns. They're going to Mississippi State. 6.5 points. 2 weeks ago, I'd have been like, oh, yeah, we'll take care of that. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous. Got a couple nights of sleep on this, and we'll talk about it in a couple days, see what my pick will be. Ole Miss goes to OU. As a Texas fan, I do not like OU, but you never know what's going to happen. So I put them up there. I learned you can't pick with your heart. You got to pick with your head and also look at the numbers. So that'll be a fun game to look at and break down and see, put a pick on. A&M going to LSU. They're saying this is one of the biggest games of the weekend because A&M is, I think they're number 3 by now in the nation. And LSU is always just a tough place to go. As you saw how the home teams last week, at least the ones we were looking at, all covered. So LSU is going to be a tough game there. Aggies are only 2.5 point favorites. That'll probably change. I think as the week goes on, it'll probably go up. I think it'll get bigger. But either way, that's pretty good spread there. Missouri, who is a tough SEC team, is going to Vandy. That's going to be exciting, I think. Vandy, like I said before, their offense is pretty exciting. Pavia just makes everything exciting as you watch the game and all the stuff. He runs around like a crazy guy, but he puts up the points. And so Vandy, again, is a 2.5 point favorite, which is what they were over LSU. 52.5. I think that was the same as last time or close to it. So we'll see how that goes. And Alabama goes to South Carolina. I just picked it because I feel like Alabama is a fun team to watch. They're getting better. Their offense is looking pretty good. So 13.5 points, right? When you look at that and you don't know the teams, you say, that's a lot of points. But for Alabama, it may not be a lot of points. They won by 17 over Tennessee last time. But they're on the road. And we know how the home teams did last time. And then the last one, I put Auburn against Arkansas. I did it in honor of Big Peso Dean because he says crazy things happen in Arkansas. I want to see what crazy things happen here. The Hogs, I think they got a lot of confidence after last week's game, even though they lost. Auburn's a 1.5 point favorite going in there. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. And you look at some of these spreads, 52.5 points doesn't sound like a lot. I mean, each team scores 26 points, you're practically there. So these are going to be fun to watch. Once again, just a reminder, like and subscribe. Really looking forward to talking about these games and giving you our picks and hopefully making you a ton of money. So we'll see you next time on It's That Easy.